Hey friends, it's often said that the fear of public speaking is more intense and scary than the fear of death. While this might be a little too far-fetched and exaggerated, but there is at least some truth to it. It cannot be denied कि स्टेज पे जाके डर सबको लगता है, गला सबका सूखता है. But can something be done about this? Can we really overcome this fear? Well, not entirely, but there are things you can do to significantly reduce your fears. In this video, let me share some tips with you. Let's get going. First, choose your audience wisely. मैं कैसे अपना ऑडियंस चूज करूं भैया? ऑडियंस तो सामने बैठी है. Listen to me carefully. You can actually choose your audience yourself. So now you are up on the stage and there are so many people looking at you. And wherever you will go to teach, you will go to Bombay, you will go to Delhi, anywhere you will go and make a public appearance, talk to people, there will always be a few people in the audience who will have a grumpy face, something like this. They will never laugh, they will never smile, they will never give any expressions. But at the same time, there will indeed be a few people in the audience who respond, who nod, who smile, and those are the people you have to find. So let's say you just got on the stage, you will be fixing up your mic, you will be fixing a PPT, or someone else would be introducing you. In that duration, in that time, quickly glance your audience and see who are those one or two nodding people or smiling people who smile back at you when you give a smile. Okay? And those are your audiences. You have to put all your energies and focus into these people. And remember, guess what? All my 10 years of teaching experience actually tells me, and I have actually discovered it, that the grumpy face people, the straight, the unexpressioned people are not necessarily bad people, friends. Guess what? I just recently completed teaching a course on strategic management. It was a 4 months course, and there was this one student in the class who never ever smiled, forget laughing at my jokes, or forget responding to my questions. And I was like, okay, fair enough, maybe this chap is not enjoying my classes, and it's okay, you can never expect everyone to enjoy what you are saying or everyone to like what you say, right? That's how the world works, that's okay. But this student gave me a shock of my life when on the last day of certificate distribution, he came to me and actually touched my feet and said, "Professor, your classes have made me a different person and they've changed my thought process." And guess what? I was like, seriously? Are you saying that? I don't believe my ears. But that's true, and that happens all the time. It's not necessary that everyone has to respond you back the way you expect them to, but it does not mean that they are not enjoying. But while you are delivering your speech or giving your lessons, you do not have to necessarily focus on these people. Just one or two nodding and smiling people, focus on them and shoot, and you will be fine. And one more add-on to this point, let's say you are not able to identify those people before you start speaking, then do so while you started speaking. As soon as you can, in the first 1 or 2 or 3 minutes of your speaking, identify the people who are able to relate to you and focus on them. They are your audience. Okay, let's move on to point number 2. You have now started speaking, just about to start. Start on a lighter note. Instead of directly focusing or jumping into your content, see if you can start with a quotation, that goes well with the topic that you are going to cover. Or see if you can crack a joke. It should be a light one and a sensitive one, okay? Or see if you can ask a question that the audience relates to. I always do this one. I always start with asking a question and it always works for me. But you should know what is the right question and how to actually use this tool. You can't be asking a long subjective why kind of question. No one's gonna answer your why, because please understand, as much scared you are on the stage, as much scared those audiences are sitting on their seats. They are not comfortable either talking long things. So what is a good thing to do? So instead of a subjective question, rather ask a yes/no question. How many of you agree with blah blah blah? Yes, raise your hands. No, raise your hands. And that's it. Please understand, there is a catch in this also. Not everyone is going to raise hands for yes/no either. So if there are 100 people in the class or in your audience, expect about 30 to say yes, about 20 to say a no, and 50 will still not respond, and that's perfectly okay. Please do not read between lines. You are not here to do an actual survey. You are here to deliver your talk, and by asking a yes/no question, you are actually relieving yourself and the job is done. So move on. Point number 3, and a super important point, do not mug. That's right. If you do not trust me, please quickly have a look at my own notes for this video. There they are. And if you will see carefully, I have not written the detailed speech. All I have done is written a few important points that I want to kind of cover in this video and communicate to you. But if I would make a long detailed speech, then there is every possibility that I will start forgetting every now and then, and that is what will make me most nervous. So believe me or not, you actually become more nervous when you are super over prepared with your long speeches. But should you have few bullet points in your speech or talk, you will be far more comfortable, because that will give you the freedom to adapt your speech basis the responses of the audience. You will not be under tremendous pressure of forgetting one line after the other. So how do we actually execute this point properly? So here's what you have to do. Prepare for the first 30 seconds or 1 minute well. Think of the question or the joke or the quotation that you are gonna talk about. Also prepare very well about your closing remarks of the last 30 seconds or 1 minute. How do you want to close? How do you want to thank your audience, etc. But in between these, let's say you have another 8 minutes or 16 or 20 minutes, whatever it is, in between, just make a few bullet points of the broad coverage that you want to do with your audience. Do not try to remember the nitty-gritties of these points. And if you do that, you will also see at least one more benefit, and that's the benefit of adaptability. You know, as you keep going, there are certain points which your audiences are enjoying more, and there are other points which they seem to be not so excited about. So as you go along, you can focus more on the points that the audience wants to listen, and that flexibility comes only if you allow the speech to flow on its own rather than having to remember each and every line in the speech. So my third point, and a very powerful point, is that do not try to memorize or remember your speech. Just go with the flow and things will be far more easier for you. Okay, other than these points, I think there are few smaller points like dress for the occasion. If you are going on the stage, it almost always helps to be well dressed. At least your dress is not something that you would be worried about, or even in the last minute you wouldn't be cursing yourself for not being rightly dressed for the stage, and therefore being properly attired is a very good idea. Last but not the least, I would strongly insist you to understand that we have to all live with this fear. Even when you become an expert after 20 years, you would still have some inhibitions before going to the stage. Everyone has them. I also have them, and it actually helps, you know, because if you are slightly worried, that's when you give your best shot. If you are not at all worried, that means you are very complacent. That means this audience is not important to you. That may also mean that this talk is not so important for you, and then that's not when you are going to give your best shot. So always living with the understanding that stage fear always remains, is a part of our life, and one shouldn't skip or miss opportunities because of this fear is a good realization. Okay? So friends, next time you get a public speaking opportunity, please do not skip it. Try what I have talked with you. I'm not promising that your heart will not beat faster when you go on the stage, but I can definitely promise you that you will come down from the stage very satisfied, very happy, and very enriched. And so friends, if you liked this video, I would also strongly recommend that you watch our How to Be Happy video. There's a lot to learn from that video as well, and from the videos that are coming in the future. Have a great life. Stay blessed.